Righty, ladies and gentlemen, Wuthering Waves has been absolutely pumping when it comes to content, except none of that content is actually in the game. All of the content is on their YouTube page because they've come out with another developer deep dive series. This time it's going to be volume 2 focused on level design. And one thing is clear when it comes to these breakdowns. We're spending so much time watching these and engaging with these because there's, well, you can see over here, there's nothing to do in the game, and there's going to be nothing to do in the game for the time being moving forward. So I love that Kuro Games is going ahead and teasing, giving a lot of pointers for what's going to be ahead in version 3.0. And when it comes to something like level design, where clearly implementations like flying, Rinasita's design are clearly linked together, I'm interested in seeing whether or not we're going to get an exposure to what's coming in version 3.0, whether it's either the new Federation or Lahai Roi, all of that. A lot of it is still up in the air, but hopefully the devs will give us a bit of a preview. So with that in mind, we got a short 8-minute dev talk. Let's go ahead and get right on into it.
Hello， 漂泊者们，大家好，又见面了，欢迎收看明朝开发组特别对谈。
They have a different host and a different interviewee from the last time. Okay, I like how they're sort of spicing this up, right? They're making sure, oh, you don't hear the same guy too often. Wait, this might be the same host, but it's definitely a different interviewee. I'm not super sure. I'm not super sure. Wait, no, I think this was the same guy as last time. I'm tripping. It's just we got Q instead of
我是
live.
Q 策划，今天呢，我们很高兴邀请到了明朝的关卡策划 J 策划。
Never mind, it's Jay. Part of me kind of wishes they had like names that were longer than one letter, because I feel like that's making it really easy for them to get it's really easy to confuse them.
他会给
Like now people in my chat are saying Jay was there back in the 2.0 podcast. Great, like that doesn't really help me.
漂泊者们带来明朝关卡设计的幕后故事。
Hello， 漂泊者们，好久不见，我是接策划。
Combat was Q and Lie, now it's Q and J. Do you guys already see like how this is getting confusing? Anyways, let's go say hi to Jay. What's up, Jay?
漂泊者们，好久不见，我是接策划。
那咱们就直
Can somebody get Jay a fucking throat lozenge? Can somebody get Jay a fucking cough drop? Holy shit.
论主题吧。明朝开服至今，其实漂泊者们见证了地图到开放世界探索许许多多的变化。我相信啊，漂泊者们一定很喜欢一个设计，就是 2.0 的翱翔系统。
Perfect. Okay, this is gonna be about traversal. They definitely have to be sharing something about 3.0. Yeah, this is clearly, it's gonna be really heavily focused on exploration and traversal. Okay.
J 策划能不能给大家分享一下翱翔系统背后的设计故事？
没问题。其实
Okay,
翱
let's
翔
hear
的
about
设想早在 1.0 的时候就提出来了。当我们关卡组成员
Back
进
to
入 1.0 版本的
1.0
时候，我们就会发现，虽然可以说做到奔跑不消耗体力、快速爬墙、深海协助跑图等等，但其实还可以做得更爽。如果能像极限运动、翼装飞行那样，从高处急速下滑就更刺激了，很符合咱们游戏灵动酷炫的风格。
I guess that shows just how ambitious the Wuthering Waves team actually was when flight was literally something that they were cooking up in 1.0, while a lot of people thought they developed it during the 1.x arc and then released it in 2.0. So yeah, I think a lot of people are a little bit confused about the timeline of Wuthering Waves and its development. It actually turns out that Rinasita, I do believe, was planned to be in the game in 1.0. But due to like scope, rewrites, all of that, you know, it ended up getting the scope sort of like extended out into 2.0 instead. So I think that is a bit of a fact that a lot of people aren't super familiar with, but it just kind of shows just how broad the vision of this game was in the first place. And naturally, I guess after they made a shit ton of money from the release, they were able to go full in on the features that they wanted.
原来翱翔系统一开始是为了急速下滑而设计的。
是的。 当我们第一版从高处下滑的翱翔 demo 体验出来之后，我们发现这依然不够自由，因为它只能够下滑以及稍微向上拉伸，很多时候就差那么一点，我们就能到达目的地了，但是又很难再拉上去。我们
Right, this would have been really goddamn hard to. You would have to like essentially control your momentum, right, to like accelerate down or like to go downwards and then like level out. Just at the right point to be able to like recarry your momentum to like go up. And that would essentially be, with this system, the only way to regenerate height. Which is, let's just be honest here, that would be fucking hard to do on mobile. So I think them adding in like that stamina system to be able to boost naturally is what saved this entire thing.
一度认为这种体验不仅在操控上没法令人感到舒适，而且需要漂泊者们先去到高处才能体验，极其的繁琐。后来有一天，制作的同学说给这个翱翔添加一个喷气式的功能，他觉得还挺好用的。我们一试哇，确实挺震撼的，自由的感觉扑面而来。
这种机制的设计会不会也给项目组带来了很多比较大的挑战？
是的，确实会有一些新的难点。但我们反复讨论之后，还是决定抛弃掉所有的疑虑，一步步去攻克这些问题点，尽力给漂泊者们带来更好的体验。落差大且层次感强的地图设计，高耸的建筑，新的探索度系统。
And this is where I feel like it's leaning into the same type of conversation we were having when it came to the combat mechanics, right? In that combat mechanics talk, right? Lai was getting into how a lot of existing things in the game needed to be like reworked to be able to implement this idea that they had. Right now, it sounds like when it comes to like world design and stuff, because of how flying worked, they had to add in a bunch of verticality into the maps. I'm gonna be honest over here. I think that this was a bit of a double-edged sword, because you look at this, right, and you're like, damn, Septimont looks great. Then you actually go around in it, and like 90% of it is literally empty because of flight, because they had to have room for you to actually be able to maneuver, right, and go around. Unfortunately, there's actually in this area, I think, literally nothing. Like, across this entire thing, there's absolutely like no chests, there's no enemies, it's just like cool geographical stuff. But that begs the question of, if there's like nothing there and it's a lot of empty space, was it worth all this empty space on the map just to make flying feel better? And just for aesthetic? Some could say yes, but it is fair for me to say that, yeah, it looks cool the first time I explored it, but then afterwards, it's sort of just like, I'm constantly asking the question of, why would I go back here when there's literally nothing to do? And that's the second unfortunate part, right? Because there's actually like there's shit like down here, right? You know how this map is like overhanging a cliff? You can go down to the ground over here, and there's like shit to do down there. So it's like, that's, you know, it's like part of the design where it's just like it can feel a little bit off, or it feels like there's, you know, some degree of like wasted assets or resources. And this is why I said flying got a little bit dull. Honestly, flying got dull for me after version 2.2. I would have been good with no more flying after that. I felt like all flied out after Avenolium and the 2.0, 2.1 map expansions. And then when Septimont came in and then it had like so many empty areas, I was a little bit like, okay, if there's no more flying in this game ever again, I would be kind of okay with that. I'm okay with the different mechanic instead. I'm all flied out.
包括宝箱聚集地等等，这些都为了翱翔玩法来服务的。所以从结果来看，我们在解放游戏探索方式的同时，也解放了场景美术的视觉设计枷锁。当然，我们未来也会给大家带来更加丰富的。
It gave them more freedom in level design, but I also feel like it eliminated options from their level design. When you have flying and you're moving that fast, can you have like detailed indoor areas? I don't know. Right? Like one thing you know about Septimont and Raguna is that there's not like the same sort of like interiors that we had in like the port city of Guizhou, right? Where there were like puzzles and stuff. There were like doors, ladders inside of buildings, and then you would like explore, go like deep down, do that sort of stuff to pick up like chests that are like inside buildings. That to me, it's a nice level of like variation in the exploration experience that feels like we just didn't have in Raguna, because the expectation was that you were going to just be flying everywhere super fast.
的开放世界体验，还会去探索更多不一样的跑图方式。
2.0其实很多漂泊者也有一个感受，是整个地图的吸引力变得更强。能说说我们是怎么做到的吗？
好的，其实我觉得这是一个很好的美术和玩法结合的案例。首先，在2.0，我们设置了很多具备强烈吸引力的场景。
Oh yeah.
我希望漂泊者们在初始开始。
Remember that first? This is like that first shot that you had after you finished Act 1 of 2.0, and then this is the look that you got. This was, without a doubt, absolute cinema for sure.
探索开放世界的时候，能够发现若干兴趣点，并且从中能够按照自己的喜好进行选择探索。这个是视觉给大家的探索欲望。举个实际的例子。当我们设计清理庭院的时候，迷宫玩法可能本身没法带来很强的探索欲望， 于是我们在迷宫顶部制作了一棵黄金大树。我们发现，其实只要将迷宫的部分移出远景的视野，
You would see the
漂泊者
tree.
们从远处看，首先会被大树所吸引。当接近亲历庭院之后，又发现啊，原来这是迷宫啊，就很自然而然地进去探索了。我们在之后的大型兴趣点，都尽可能让玩法和美术有1+1大于2的作用。
我想到另外。
This is where I think they did like an interior area well when it comes to the exploration. But there's also another thing when it comes to this. This thing is fucking, like, big. And there's also, because this thing is big, it's also like an interior area. There's a lot of places in here that, like, literally have nothing. There was a point where it almost became, like, a little bit annoying to be in this area because there was so much, even in this, like, maze, right? This enclosed area, there was literally nothing.
另外一个鼓励玩家去探索地图的案例，就是2.4版本的惊奇部落。
Oh,
这个
oh, they're talking about banners never fall. Oh, fuck me, man. Why are they talking about all the good ass events that we don't have anymore?
也是通过玩法去辅助探索吧。
是的，我们会把一些有特殊规
That
则的
event
玩
was
法
amazing.
直接永久放到开放世界中的地块上。
If they're able to repurpose more of the areas that exist right now in 2.0 and the 2.4 maps and make them have like events like banners never fall, that would be goated.
目的是为了制造一些体验上的差异，这一点能够打破闪点布设带来的疲倦感，
They did
也
a
能为
good
后续
job.
的深度玩法系统提供试验平台。
Oh my gosh. So Banners Never Fall was very positively received. Great recognition of that. And they're using it as a, like basically a test bed to be able to come out with more in-depth gameplay features. Okay. So they're cooking right now, but damn, they have been cooking for a really fucking long time. They've been cooking for about 2 versions. Because Banners Never Fall came out in 2.4. They're taking kind of a while with it.
我举一个例子，2.4版本的卡比托山城市区域。我们会通过惊奇部落这样的玩法来跟下城市区域进行结合。一方面是让区域玩法形成区域特征点，丰富战斗体验；另一方面则用于发现玩法的优点和缺点，在今后创造出更有乐趣的深度新玩法。
Okay.
我们希望能够在体验上打破一些常规，给漂泊者们惊喜。
So I love all the promises going on over here. This all sounds great, but like, when are we going to put it in the game?
我觉得不仅是在开放世界的地块上，其实在很多任务副本里也能看到很多玩法上的新尝试，比如在
experimental gameplay. Are they going to talk about the handholding?
游诺去进行牵手的互动。当时我们是怎么想到要去做这样的设计呢？
游诺牵手玩法这一块其实是由项目组的任务。
Just stop talking. There's, I don't feel like there's a, I don't feel like you can professionally explain the reason for why you added that feature in the game without people making fun of you. I'm just gonna be real. Hey, you know what? Let's just hear him out. Maybe he'll be spitting.
同学负责设计和研发的，但是用到了副本关卡的形式来表现。这里我就代表大家来讲一下。
Okay.
说到这里的幕后故事
This is like a reflection on the Gooner brainstorming session.
其实大家一开始也在思考，我们要怎么结合抓住游诺、锚定游诺这个关键剧情去设计玩法。后来我们想到，牵手是一个很合适的玩法。
Just stop it, bro. Just. What are you saying?
环节，这样
What are you saying?
不仅很符合剧情的设计，也带来了明朝里全新的角色互动方式。
You just wanted to add handholding into the fucking game, and you found a convenient lore reason to do it. Stop fucking playing. No, it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking, like, we need to find a way to implement this lore thing into the game. Let's go with handholding. No, you got it. That's not how it fucking happened. You guys were like, damn, I really want to hold Yuno's hand. Do we have a lore reason for why we can add that into the game? That's how the conversation went. Why are we just lying here? Nah, why are we just... We know that's not what happened. Nobody believes this explanation.
当然，这个想法也给项目组带来了非常恐怖的开发难度。
Yeah, you were working with... Everyone on the dev team was working with one hand. Of course, what you had was tight. Yeah, of course, you were all working with one hand.
非常恐怖的开发难度。
Fucking death gripping with the other.
我们要在短时间内开发一个这样的内容，其实无论是体验迭代、互动升级，
I find there to be something poetic about the devs talking about how hard it was to implement one of the most gooner features in the game. I just find something very poetic about that.
还是解决各种 bug， 都是很大的开发量。我们也遇到了很多新开发底层的问题点，但是大家都太想把这个想法。
Like, just read this shit and tell me this isn't like the funniest fucking thing ever. Like, I already said at the start, no matter what this dude says, it's going to be funny. Explaining a hand-holding mechanic.
落地。
The team was determined to make it happen.
群策群力，最终也是如愿以偿。
With everyone's creativity and persistence.
痛并快乐着。
It was. He just keeps going. He just keeps going. He doesn't stop.
我们很享受这样的游戏。
That we genuinely enjoyed. Did you, Bucko? Did you genuinely enjoy that experience? Oh, I bet y'all did. I'm surprised how is he able to say this with a straight fucking face? How? How does he say this with a straight face? I wouldn't be able to.
游戏开发方式。
其实我还很好奇啊，就是有没有是因为技术突破而促成的一些创新呢？可以给漂泊者们举个例子。
New innovative mechanics. Okay, we might be getting into some of the 3.0 stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We might be getting into some of the unreleased future mechanics.
可以，那我再分享一些由我们的场景技术进步而衍生出的玩法吧。起初我们在坎特雷拉。
Okay, now they're still talking about some of the older stuff. Okay.
慢行任务中实现了副本类的实时场景切换，但一直没有去尝试无缝场景的切换玩法。直到 2.6 主线任务的抑郁症部分，为了表达黑潮入侵前后的小镇面貌，第一次实现场景瞬切。但仅仅瞬切还不够。
This also happened in the 2.7 quest too. Yeah, this is pretty sick when they do this.
扭曲变换的一个效果，对应上黑潮本身扭曲的世界的感觉。
I had no idea it looks like this though.
其实很多作品不仅在场景方面的技术都很强大，
That's kind of crazy.
在玩法侧也能做到很好的耦合与平衡。我们在这条路上还有很多可以学习的地方，
也是要一直保持一个向上的心态去创作、去优化。
是的。
那说到场景，那咱们再聊聊有没有哪些地图设计是 J 策划比较印象深刻的呢
？Okay，
有一个令我印象最深刻的地图设计，也是设计难度最高的，还得是 2.2 的阿维纽林神学院。我们使用了重力颠倒的概念，因为它配上我们的翱翔玩法，会足够的酷炫。最初我们是想在小范围的场景空间去实现，先做个试验再说。但几经尝试，我们发现重力颠倒这个东西，只能在广阔且充满明显参照物的情况下，才能达到最好的视觉效果。
I'm not gonna lie. I found the gravity reversal stuff to be like the most gimmicky gimmick ever. Cause like you used it like one time across the entire exploration and then never again. Like, I think you used it to get like 1 or 2 waypoints, but then you couldn't do combat. Like, you couldn't like do stuff. It felt really off to me, actually. I'm surprised that this is the one that they decided to choose as like their best. Maybe it's like from a technological, maybe it's from like a technological perspective. They added in, they found like a lot of new capabilities from using it. But I feel like its actual implementation was a little bit boring. Because there was no point in it. You couldn't even do anything while it was on.
才会让人感觉到我的重力切实发生了变化。
I love that the footage that they show in like these test areas is like literally like dog shit, like 15 frames a second. Like that's how you know it was actually a technical test.
想象你在一个小房间内重力颠倒，再或者一个3维城市的重力颠倒，后者的参照物足够明显，也足够丰富，感知就越强烈。所以我们也不得不挑战去实现这个概念。
Okay.
重力颠倒会带来眩晕不适，也会让漂泊者们迷失方向。
Yeah, that happened to me.
不知所措。为了解决这些问题，我们采用了更舒缓的转换过程，足够简洁的玩法交互，流线式的任务动线。这么做就不会过多的因为重力颠倒这个概念玩法去打断漂泊者们的剧情体验。毕竟，跟卡提西亚的同行体验才是核心。过程中，我们遇到了很多的设计边界问题。
Okay, map
最终落地
boundaries.
下来，还是要感谢感想的策划， 还有敢做的程序和美术，也想感谢愿意认真体验我们内容的漂泊者。
Surely, we're gonna talk about some 3.0 stuff now. Because I feel like that's going to be the main draw of this series, is them, like, talking a little bit about some of the future versions at, like, closer to the end of these conversations. So I'm praying right now, because he said looking ahead. Hopefully I don't get baited again, but surely, in, like, the last minute, we got something.
那么在未来，我们是否有一些新的设想可以带给漂泊者们？
在这里我想分享一个现在的团队理念吧。
Okay.
就是我们想做更加生动的开放世
An
界。
immersive experience. Okay.
索拉里斯是一个因漂泊者而生的世界，虽然场景不会说话，但我们会努力来让大家
Scenery can't speak to you. We hope that players truly feel like the world exists because of you, and it changes because of you. Wait a second. What this is telling me is that they might literally have, like, this whole, like, switching mechanic. I think there's a reason why they talk so much about it as one of their biggest accomplishments. I think that this is yeah, they talked about the scenery switching in Cantarella's quest, and then they talk about it in Murmur's Town, and then this line over here is about how we want the world of Solaris to change for you. I'm gonna be real, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like a, like, past and future state, maybe, like, moments of time travel, or, like, you know, just, like, this, you know, these dual environments. That might just be, like, the gimmick of 3.0. And when you think about Lahai Roy being, you know, that's a region of the world, right? That's the Middle East, right? Yes, I know I said desert before, right? People kind of, like, think of, like, Lahai Roy as maybe, like, the Dubai of the Wuthering Waves world. Maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe on one side of the world, there's, like, a desert, and then you, like, switch, and then on the other side, right, you have the city. Maybe that's the dynamic that's gonna be going on. Okay.
漂泊者们而改变的世界，它会有多么的丰富多彩。
Make it as vibrant and alive as possible.
同时，我们希望会有更多的
And they're planning more creative ways to blend characters into the open
和
world
互动的方式的融入
through deeper
请漂泊者们
interactions.
敬请期待。
Okay, so that's just an open talk from them that they're going to be integrating more and more characters into the open world experience, which I think that they've started doing a lot more in, like, 2.4 onwards. Like, you're allowed to see, like, the characters, right? Walk around, go on patrols, that sort of stuff. And from what I'm seeing over here, they're planning on making the world simply just way more interactive. The player can actually, I guess, change things. So yeah, I think that while this was probably one of the more vague teasers we've gotten, I think it's pretty clear that they talk so much about, like, these world-shifting parts of their level design so much. And the whole, like, hand-holding mechanic, right? They talked about this shit for, like, 3 minutes. Hey, they might be going full on into the, hand-holding in the overworld route, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you'll be able to find Augusta or Yuno, or maybe you'll be able to find, right, your playable unit walking around on patrol somewhere, and you could just walk up and ask them if you could hold their hand. That sounded really pathetic, but there's going to be a lot of people that really want that shit. So, yeah, overall, awesome chat. Let's close it out.
故事和互动的方式的融入，请漂泊者们敬请期待。
好的，感谢这一策划做的分享。那么也希望漂泊者们能够在明朝的开放世界中获得更多精彩的体验。那么本期的开发组特别对谈就到这里了，让我们下期再见，拜拜。
Hey, it was a shorter one, but honestly, I think we got a lot of fantastic clues anyways. While we didn't get a lot into, like, the traversal, the travel mechanics that are going to be in 3.0, I think we hit on a potentially even more exciting idea that we're going to be constantly switching, or at least making big changes to the environment as we're actively exploring it and going throughout the story. And that, to me, is something that's just pretty badass. That's pretty damn cool. And I don't think we've had a game, at least a gacha open world game, that has leaned into mechanics like this one to such a high degree. And once again, it looks like Murmur's Town, this entire story arc, was a bit of like a beta test for when they plan on going full steam ahead in 3.0 with this mechanic. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to hearing more news. And once again, when it comes to, like, gameplay, I think Kuro is just showing how much of a masterclass they have when it comes to this part of the genre. So yeah, let me know what you all thought about this, react, and this commentary on the Dev Talk, and peace out.